Zoom would help me. And then I had a lot of Zooming from the bomb shelter in Ashkelon and then in Farsaba where we were, the connection between people in America. So I am both American and Israeli. I have both passports. My roots are in Disneyland, basically. But to feel that people care and are listening. I do a lot of teaching, so I talk to people of all ages. To hear like 2 weeks, maybe even a week into it, Zooming with a synagogue school or teenagers in the San Fernando Valley that they weren't allowed to talk about it at school. And one kid was at Jewish day school. They said, well, they talk about it, but the public schools they weren't talking about it. Hopefully things have changed a little. But I think I've been in San Diego, I've been in a couple other places. Some schools they're allowed to talk about it, some they aren't. It's getting a lot of coverage because of the elections. We'll see what happens with it. But just the feeling that people care, that being invited here, that you want to hear about it, you stay connected with it, and try to search for the truth, and fight for shalom, for peace. And the root of the word shalom is shalem, which is complete. And I look at that we need to try to find completeness in ourselves, in the world, in our purpose of being, of humanity. And that's the search. And I gotta believe we can make it. I gotta believe it's half full. I have to think it's going to be positive. Otherwise, that's my reason for being, my reason for teaching, is that we've got to plant these ideas and we've got to fight for justice, and equality and rights, and a way to live in harmony and then care about our environment. That's the John Lennon imagined in me. And we all carry a little of that, hopefully. But we have to keep going. Questions?
So Gaza's being decimated. On my different trips there, I've gotten to work with different Israeli peace activists and people that are, always combined of the three communities. And then I've also worked there with the queer community, and that seems to, I really do feel like the queer community is going to save this, because they were going across and bringing Palestinian kids over to Jerusalem. It's just because it's so dangerous, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So, are you in conversation with folks that are looking on the other side, and because 26,000 deaths, no hospital, no food, because it's war. So, what have you been talking to folks?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
And I really underline unfortunately.
Yeah, and I know part of it's also they don't have access to communication. Some folks. So
I think right now it's it'd be questionable to start dealing with it now and who you're dealing with on the other side unless you had a previous relationship.
Yeah.
I think there are all kinds of things out there. I'm hoping that it will reunite. And by the way, with the in terms of the queer community, but also the activists that were gathering on Saturday nights, they were the first communities to start working on volunteerism. So when Terry and I were in Kfar Saba, we volunteer of people donating left and right clothes and this and that, helping sort it through. But they were the first ones to jump in and say, listen, we've got to help our country, we have to help each other out. So in terms of dealing with the other, it hasn't happened for me yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what organizations are going on with that yet. But in terms of dealing with people from Gaza, I think it's really difficult right now.
yes.
I have my dream for the world is to have all of the men step back.
No problem.
Let us give it a try. Somehow, I think those of us that give birth might have some different ideas. I don't know. It could be just a dream.
Appreciate it, Rebecca. Go on. Come for it.
I give you my vote. Because my language screwed it up a lot. Related to the government of Israel, I mean, blows in my ear. The Prime Minister of Israel, who who actually, there are a lot of similarities to the Yom Kippur War.
Yes.
And actually, it was the same day, anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. And some people remember 1973, holiest day of the year for Jews, whether they go to synagogue or not, things stop pretty much. Israel was attacked. And Golda Meir, when the war was over, took responsibility.
Yes.
She said it was on my watch, and she resigned.
Yep.
Mr. Netanyahu hasn't really expressed that he was going to do that. Although I think I saw a headline this morning that the head of the, I could be wrong, there was a quick thing this morning, maybe the head of Mossad, the secret organization and secret services, was going to resign, that they should have been more on top of what was going on. So taking responsibility is really important.
That's what I just was going to ask you, and it was kind of chilling how close it was to the Yom Kippur, like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And yeah, Mossad is Mossad. What happened?
That's a big question that they're going to look into exactly. But just like Golda Meir and Moshe Dayan had said that there was information getting up to them for the Yom Kippur War, just people wouldn't get the right source or people weren't taking it seriously. It sounds like the same thing had gone on. One of the Knesset members had been part of the coalition for many years. I'm going to blank on his name, Russian leader. Not Sharansky, but...
Gorbachev?
Sorry?
Gorbachev? Gorbachev?
No, it is a Jewish Israeli Knesset member. No, we'll keep going. You keep thinking. But he put out a paper in 2015 saying this border is really soft. This is how they could attack. So, sorry? Lieberman. Not one of my favorite politicians, but he
Our Lieberman, you mean?
No.
They're over there.
Lieberman there.
Yeah.
So there
That's a
have
whole
been people just weren't listening to the right sources.
Yeah.
And,
Because in some ways, it's like really hard to believe. No, right? I mean, because Israel is the best defense country in the Middle East, so but.
I have a theater group I started in Oslo. I have a theater background. I'm sorry.
Just to clarify, the Israeli word is conception, basically. You develop how to interpret something. If you give up any information that contradicts the interpretation, you're wrong. It's like a 50-year cycle. That's actually one of the things we can learn from this horrible experience in America is that you get reinforcing ideas and people won't come up with a contradiction. Like there's evidence saying we should do something different now. Whether it's towards Russia or China, there's conceptions that keep us from seeing the full picture. The Israelis have come to that twice now. It's a bad thing. They had all the evidence. It was right in front of them. But the people reported it. Go away. It's pretty weird. That's what we do as humans.
I think so.
Yeah.
And the country is really small. If you haven't been there, some of you have been there, I know, but the country is so small. I think from north to south, you can drive it 7-8 hours from Eilat all the way up to Golan Heights. And the width is much smaller. So it's a small territory. I was going to mention that someone in my theater group in Ashkelon lives in one of those communities. And she had a drop. We were working on a play production for Hanukkah, which we had to abort totally because of the timing. But she lost people from her community. A brother was killed the first day of fighting. I think 10 people the first day from her community were killed. She's totally traumatized. A lot of people are resettled in different places. This woman's in Tel Aviv area. They're being put up in hotels, at housing developments. As I mentioned, up in northern Israel, a whole strip there. People have been